Now we've got it.
There we go. All right. Says it's preparing. All right, it's probably recording. Welcome, Brittany here. We've got Brittany. So excited to have her. She's a content creator. All right. And she was telling me about her programs that she offers and how she has this program that all of a sudden people will come in and create a month worth of reels, a year worth of reels, like way faster, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they'll create a month's worth of content, whatever works for them, in about 90 minutes or less.
Dang.
So it saves so much time, energy, and effort. I'm going to teach you some of my secrets.
Cool. Well, Brittany, tell us what the safest, easiest way to market a business is.
Well, I think right now we are living in such a cool age where we get to market ourselves. Like, we are generally the product when we are trying to sell something or an offer. Never in the history of the world have we been able to sit behind a computer screen and have our children running around and be able to make money, especially as women. It's just not been available to us. And we have the ability to do that now, but we need to know how to stand out from the crowd, because if we have that ability, millions and millions of other people have that ability, and more people are understanding this. So there's lots of voices, right?
Yes.
There's definitely lots of voices. And it's like, well, I like to think about this, visually in a way. Like, if you're standing in a very, very crowded field of people and you're just shouting and saying I do this is what I do, nobody's going to hear you. Nobody's going to pay attention to you. Nobody's going to understand, and you're not going to get the traction that you want in your business. So what you really need is a megaphone and a stage, and then people are going to understand. And that comes down to your branding. It's when you understand and know your exact message, who you're speaking to, and how to communicate your message effectively. And then the transformation that you're going to give someone. And we're going to talk more about this, but that's really the best and safest way to market yourself.
Cool. Well, that leads me to wanting to know how do we create that content? How do we know how to dial down our message and everything? Because I remember too, when I first started, I had no idea what to share, what my message was, who I was even talking to. I knew what it did for me, but I had no idea how to share it. So, and then even when someone's already experienced, I've been doing this for 4 years now, figuring out marketing first I was a transformation coach, now a trainer. And it's I can still even get better at my messaging. So from beginning all the way up to experienced, how do we know what content to create?
Right. Well, this is something, like you said, it's a problem for everybody, because you're always constantly trying to refine it and understand who you're speaking with. So whether this is your first day in business or your 10th year in business, you're always working on this. So just know that if you are a little bit stressed, you're I don't have this dialed in yet, that's okay, because you're going to just keep getting better. And a lot of times when we jump into business, it's because we want to share something that we love. We don't realize that, oh my gosh, now I've got to put on a hat of a marketer.
Yeah.
And I have zero training in it. I don't know how to do it. And I really don't care to learn how to do that. If I did, I would go into marketing.
Yeah, totally.
I'm going to follow what everybody else is doing. And it's like throwing spaghetti on the wall, hoping that something sticks. You don't have a strategy. You don't even know if what you're doing is working. You don't even know how to evaluate it. And so then you just start to create content for content's sake. Yeah. And that's not helping you. That's probably, if you're doing this, you're probably I am not getting any traction. It stresses me out. Am I following this person? Should I do this trend? Should I do this?
Yeah.
And your brain is just filled with all this jumble of I'm listening to this technique or I'm listening to this technique, you have no clarity around it at all. And I know, Camilla, this is exactly what you teach. You're like, we have got to like
Yeah,
take
I'm like thinking,
just
Kate,
that
you're talking my
out.
language of four voices and all those voices in your head, which is
It
the
doesn't
retreat
work.
coming up on Monday. And I'm like, come to that and listen to Brittany for the marketing side. We'll fix the noises and then
Yeah.
she'll help you with the marketing side.
Yeah, because we do. We think we have so much going in our brain and then we get stressed out and then we freeze and we're fearful and then we just don't do it.
Yeah.
And then we don't see our results. So if you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go
Yes.
through, and I want to teach you really fast. How are we going to make content creation fast, fun, and easy? Doesn't that
Love it.
sound way better than
Heck
what
yeah.
what we're going to?
Heck
So,
yeah.
yeah, right. Okay. Let's,
Well, and I
uh,
know that I even have like some VAs in here that maybe these women aren't like doing their own content because they've been doing it for so long and now they have VA. Like I have a VA and she's like repurposing, but I know she'll watch this and maybe it'll give her like even a new way of doing things, right?
absolutely. If you're a VA, you can 100% apply what I'm going to teach you today to your clients.
Yeah.
And what it's doing, and I don't want to like jump the gun here, but what we're doing is we're unlocking those limiting beliefs about content creation,
Mm-hmm.
because we get stuck in this thought loop of I don't know what to say, I don't know what to create, this is not working for me, I'm wasting my time. And
Yeah.
those are so painful when you're trying to have a sustainable business. It's not going to work for you. And everything that you put out is going to be reflected back to you, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, okay, here, let's go ahead. We're going to dive into this.
Cool.
And today I am teaching you about how to make content creation fast, fun, and easy so that you can get back to doing the things that you love to do. So if you love creating content, this is great. All the tips that I share for you is just going to make it that much more better. So a
Awesome.
little bit about me. I know that you shared some about me. I am a content strategist and brand photographer. So I know the types of content that you need to be creating for your business. I also am the host of the Post for Success podcast. I have created my own online course called Brand Builders Bootcamp, which gives you everything that you need to know and understand about the beginnings and basics of building your brand. I'm also
Awesome.
the content guide for the Content Collective, which is the program you talked about, where we get together and we get into action and get the stuff done so that you
Yeah.
have more time to do what you love. And my superpower really is to help women feel comfortable and confident in the content that they are creating. And you're going to learn exactly what you need to do today.
Awesome.
Yeah. And feel free to jump in anytime with questions or your thoughts on it too, because this really is the conversation about how we can make it work in our business.
Yeah.
But when you understand the transformation, and we're going to talk about this word transformation, when you understand that transformation, you'll never run out of content again, which is like, can I get an amen on that one? You
Amen.
won't.
Because like I even
Amen.
have a VA and I'm like, no, I just want to write this and I want to write this. Like, because he's repurposing, but I'm like me right now. And that was the past version of myself. So it's totally true. Like I can't spit it out fast enough.
I love that. And I love that you talk about like the past version and who you are now, because it's very, very important to recognize that you have the ability to change, and that's good.
Yeah.
So I promise that you are going to learn how to make content creation fast, fun, and easy without running out of things to say or not seeing results. We're going to get your results with this.
Cool.
So this is kind of what the journey looks like when you want to make your content creation easier. You have to know a couple of key things. You have to know who you are, who you uniquely are, what makes you different. Then you have to understand the problem for which you are solving. You also need to intimately know who you are speaking to and trying to attract. Then you need to understand the transformation. You have to create a transformation because that's what people will pay money for, is a transformation, and
Yeah.
how you can help your audience. And then the best part is you get to replicate this over and over and over again. And that's where our creation comes. And that's where we are able to build our brand authority. Does that sound like a good
Love
journey?
it. Yeah. Love it.
Perfect. So let's talk about who you are. So we're right now, we're kind of in that pillar of how do we make this fast? How do we make content creation fast for us? And it's by knowing who we are. And the first and foremost, and this is why everything, Camilla, you teach is the foundation, not only for your life, but for your business, is because you have to understand and recognize that you are worthy to do this work. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're selling press on nails or if you are running for Senate. It doesn't matter. You are
Right.
worthy to do what you're doing, right?
Yeah. And it goes, worthiness goes deep too, because it's not a matter of like, oh, I'm worthy. No, like there's a core root of why you're not feeling worthy that we need to get to. Then everything else just comes into place, and learning and educating yourself on the rest.
Absolutely. And you go deep, and I love that you go deep with this. And
Yeah.
then you also have to know that nobody is exactly like you. Even if you are selling, I love my favorite case study when describing this comes from people who are doing either an MLM or network marketing business,
Mm,
because everything is set the same. The prices are the same, the packaging's the same,
yep.
uh, uh, the release dates are the same, everything's the same, but what is different is you. So nobody is
Yes.
exactly like you. You have something special and different about you, even if you don't think you do, you do.
Yes.
So
Can we talk about the MLM
yeah,
thing for a minute? Brittany and I were talking about this because I've actually helped several teams like wake them up, revive them, and get them motivated and excited again. And I've always really wanted to like partner up with someone with branding, because yes, they have their product. But the thing is how are you different from Mary Jo over there that's selling the same product? Like, you really need to create a brand, which starts with like, first of all, getting to know who you are, not your company, but you, and then like creating that brand that sets you apart from everyone else. And I think that's where they miss it.
mhm, absolutely. Because it goes back to then, are you standing in a crowd shouting the
Yeah.
exact same thing that everybody's shouting? Nobody's listening to you. Where is that stage? And the
Yep.
stage and that microphone or megaphone, that's your brand.
Yeah. Yep.
And so if you are selling the exact same thing in the exact same way as everybody else, nobody's going to listen. Everyone's going
Sure.
to pick somebody that they trust, even if it's their great aunt. They're like, oh, I'm going to go buy that exact same product from my great aunt. Why would I buy it from you? I don't know you.
Yeah.
I don't feel connected to you. I don't owe you anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
So true.
huge, so huge. And then part of that comes by embracing your whole self. Social media has kicked our butts the past decade, where we feel like if we are not perfect in every way, doing everything the right way, and we live in the best house and we're taking the most wonderful vacations, that we're less than. And that can't be further from the truth. We are post 2020, like we're
Yeah.
coming out of a pandemic, and people want authenticity, they want the real
Yes.
you, they want the whole you.
Yeah.
So
It's true.
embrace yourself, and that's where
Mhm.
you're going to find that uniqueness.
I love it.
And
Love it.
yeah, and this is what you talked about, Camilla, and I love that you brought this up, is that I'm giving you permission, not that you need it, but I'm giving you permission right now. You can change your mind at any time.
Yes.
We think that we have to stick with something, and if we change our mind, then we might be seen as flaky, or that we've failed, or that we're not good enough, or that we didn't find success in the way we wanted to. No. Oh my
It's
gosh.
so true. I know. I just told my friend, I was like, I got up on stage this last year because I took this training to get over stage
Uh-huh.
fright. And I realized like after this year getting on some stages, I was like, I realize I don't care for it. Like I I don't, it's weird because I spent a lot of money to do that. But at the same time, I mean, I use it as I present all the time, like this and in my
Right.
trainings and social media. But it's like I changed my mind and it's okay. Like I don't need to do that. I change my mind all the time about things. And yeah, it's totally fine.
Exactly. It's totally fine. You
Yeah.
should like that's the best gift you've ever been given. And so don't pigeonhole yourself. Change your mind. You want to change your mind,
Yeah.
you can change it whenever you
You're
want to.
never married to your brand either. At
Yeah.
least create one and then
Yeah.
evolve it. Have you seen Apple's brand and where it came from? They've changed it like a ton of times.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It
just
started out
take
with like this tree and this guy sitting under the tree, an apple.
your
And it's, yeah, you can change your mind. Make it
you can.
fun. It's 6, right?
Yes. And this is fun. Okay. My brand is all about fun. And I didn't want to embrace that at first, but then I was like, why?
Why not?
Because I was like, oh, professional people aren't fun. They're professional.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is such drudgery. Why would I ever want to be something that I'm not? I'm a fun person. I love
Yeah.
doing fun things. So,
Yeah.
and the energy that I have when I'm creating, when I think of this is fun, is so much more powerful than this
Oh,
is
yeah.
stuffy and professional. Ugh, right? I just want
Oh,
to
yeah.
gag now when I
I know,
think about
huh?
that. So, so you have to know who you are, right?
Yeah.
Then you have to recognize that there is a problem and you're going to solve it. And once again, this can be anything. And I love people who say, "Oh, but I don't have a problem to solve." I work a lot with stylists and they say, "Oh, I just do people's hair. I don't have a problem to solve." And I'm like, "Girl, you solve the number one problem that half
Yeah.
50% of the world needs is they want some good looking hair. You solve a huge problem. So you have
True.
to start looking at what you're doing in the sense that there's a problem you're solving. And
Mhm.
once you think about what's this problem, you're asking questions. And I'm all about just keep asking questions. What are they feeling? Like, what are the feelings behind this problem? Maybe you have a big presentation and you want to look your best. Okay. So perhaps you're feeling a little self-conscious. And so you want to look better on the outside. And so what are they feeling? And then what exactly is the problem? You have to define what the problem is.
Mhm.
And you also have to know, why is this a problem? Because you might think that you're solving a problem, but you don't know why this is a problem for them. And they don't know why this is a problem for them. Maybe you need to tell your audience why it's a problem for them.
Yeah.
Um,
Could
and
I give
so
you a better
understand.
question? Can I give you a little upgrade?
Give me
If you
another question.
actually, yeah, if you actually ask, how is this a problem? It will actually drill down to the actual problem.
I love that.
Yeah.
How is this a
Why
problem?
kind of makes it a more fluffy, like, I don't know why. Like, you know how people are always like, I don't know why. That's the conscious mind. If you want to go deeper to the unconscious actual problem, ask, how is this a problem?
Thank you
At least 5
so
times.
much.
Yeah, at
Yeah, and
least.
ask and ask and ask because you're like peeling back those layers,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I love that. Thank you for adding that for this.
Yeah.
And then you have to understand who you're speaking to. I know that like we have there's lots of different orders in which you can do this. Some people say you have to know this one first and then you can define what your problem is and then you can do this. And honestly, like I said, it doesn't matter if you're 1 week in or 10 years in, it's a mix. It's an
Yeah.
ebb and flow of understanding things. And
Yeah.
I will tell you, I hate using the term your ideal customer or your ideal
Yeah.
avatar because I feel like it is so limiting in who you can speak to.
Mm,
And so I love using your ideal client community because you want them to be your
I
clients
love
and you want a
that.
community of people.
Yes. I
because
love it.
90% of the time, it really doesn't matter their age, their race, their height, anything like
Yeah,
that. And
true.
those are your demographics. Those are very important. Um, but what's even more important are the psychographics. What do they value? What are they looking for? What do they need? What are their desires? And when you start to understand that more, that's when you can really feel like you're in their minds. So Camilla, the people who you're coaching to become transformation coaches, does it matter how old they are?
Absolutely.
It
Yeah.
it 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 wait, does it matter how old they are?
Well, yes and no. Like it does in the way that like a 18-year-old wouldn't understand what I'm teaching in business or like that, or like a
Excellent.
child. So yes,
Yes.
in the
Yes.
way that, and then depending on where they are in life, like I've trained a 60 or 70-year-old, but there was a little bit of a conflict. So I've
Okay,
narrowed
perfect.
down more. Yeah, I've narrowed more down because it was almost like we were like, I'm teaching you, but yet you're this much older and wiser. But like, so anyway, it kind of does matter. And the more you narrow it down, I feel like the ones that are between 38 for me and 42 are like that sweet spot for me.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. So I love what you said. So yes, you're exactly right. Somebody who's a child, somebody who is not mature, had those life experiences is not going to be your ideal client. But you have found a perfect range of people. You don't need to say I'm only working with, because when you're doing basic business branding, a lot of times they say you have to have an exact age, an exact hair color, an exact height,
Yeah,
and
I don't,
you're saying that's
yeah,
not working for you. You can have anyone
yeah,
from their mid 30s to their mid 40s. That's your sweet spot,
yeah. But
right?
even, I mean, I still even attract 60-year-olds and it's totally fine. I'm not going to just say, hey, no, I'm not going to work with you because you're not in my age range. Like, no.
Perfect. But you understand that there's something unique about this general population, this community, that they have had enough experience, but they're looking for something more. And
Yeah,
they know that it's out there. And it's this sweet spot because it's
yeah,
based on not their skin color, not their,
right.
education, or, perhaps their education. Maybe they've done a lot of education and then they're like, but I know there's something more because this hasn't gotten me to where I want. So it's just these different desires and wants and needs and experiences that we tend to just gloss over, but they really get to that core deep root of the content in which
Mhm.
you're creating. You're
Yeah,
asking, what do they really want? But what do they really want? But what do they really want?
yeah,
Okay. And peeling back those layers. Where do they spend their time? And this is another thing that I loved, and we're going to talk about this in just a second. And it connects with trust yourself. Camilla, you said, I thought that I needed to have this stage speaking presence and I took all this course.
mhm,
And then I realized I don't love doing that.
yeah,
And that is so vital because you're working on attracting your ideal client community that doesn't necessarily have to show up and see you on stage. You
yeah.
can build trust and authority with them through through an online space.
Hmm.
So understanding where do they spend their time is a big one. And then finally, the transformation. How does your offer bridge that gap? I always say, I want you to think about who is your ideal client community before they interact with you or your offer. Who are they after? And then your offer is that thing, that transformation mechanism that's bridging that gap. And this is where you're going to get your testimonials and the experiences that you have with your clients. And what does their life look like after your offer? So these are the four things: knowing who you uniquely are, knowing what the problem is that you solve, knowing who your audience is, and knowing this transformation, how you help them. These are the four things that you're going to create your content on. This is the foundation of your house. These are the all the 2x4 studs, when you see you're
Yeah.
building a house. This is really that shell. And once you know these basic things, all of your content should be created around this. And that's how it's going to make your content creation faster. You're not going to be sitting and thinking, oh, what am I going to talk about today? Well, I'm going to talk about the transformation that you have. I'm going to talk about an experience that a client had. I'm going to talk about a testimonial. I'm going to talk about how this is a problem for them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how you make it fast. That's how you have a strategy. That's how you're not throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping that it sticks. That's how you're not waiting till 9 p.m. and you're posting a picture about your dog because you think you just have to post content,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
You have that foundation and you've done the work, and every single piece of content that you're going to create will come back to one of those pieces. And it's going to lead your customer on this journey so that your content is working for you.
Oh,
It's
I
helping
love
your
this.
mind grow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how we make it fast, because you already know. You've done the work. You already know exactly the type of content you need to create. Now, what about fun? Okay. Here's the deal. Stop trying to do it all and do what works for you. This is these are the voices in your head that say you must post 5 reels a day and you must be
Oh,
on every single platform. And if you don't do these, then you're not good enough and you're going to fail and you're not going to be successful. Oh my gosh, lies, complete lies.
yeah.
The only way that you're going to be and find that success and satisfaction is if you decide what works for you. Otherwise, you're going to be living in resentment and dread, and you're going to have energy and things that don't light up your life and your business. So let me give you a quick example. I started out as a photographer, and in the photography world, everybody was teaching you must, now this is, 10 years ago, you must blog. Everybody has to have a blog. If you want to be successful in growing your business, you have to blog, 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 blog. And I did
Mm,
not want to do that.
yeah.
And they're like, it allows you to show your pictures and then you can tell the story about it. And this is great. And I was like, no, I can't. And I could never bring myself to do it. I would maybe put up a blog once or twice a year. And it really wasn't helping my business because it wasn't what worked for me. Instead, I said, you know what I'm really good at? I'm really good at talking.
Yeah.
You give me a topic, I can talk all day about it.
Yeah.
So I created a podcast, and everybody thought I was crazy because they're like, you're a photographer. Why would you ever create a podcast? People can't see your work. They can't see what you're doing. It's just an audio thing. How in the world are you going to make this work and be successful for you? And let me tell you, Camilla, so successful in my business
Cool.
because I did a podcast, and it allowed me to be consistent. And because of this, I'm going to show you my formula of what I have now been able to do because I chose to do what works for me.
Yeah.
So if you hate short form video and you do not want to dance on a reel, or you don't want to be on TikTok, or you don't want to speak on a stage, please don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
That's not going to be fun for you.
No.
And you don't need that in your life. Okay,
No.
let's go on. You also don't need to be everywhere. I
Yeah.
hate this. I hate this.
I know. For
When
a
they
long time, I thought I had to be everywhere too. And I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to focus on one thing.
focus on one
Oh,
thing that lights you up. It can be a
yeah.
podcast, blog, articles, be a guest expert, uh, dive into social media. There's so many things: TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. I mean, if you're not utilizing LinkedIn, that might be a treasure trove for you. You just don't even know. Maybe you like that. Or maybe you like in-person things. Maybe you hate being on social media. You're never consistent. But if somebody gets you into a networking event and you just shine, then girl, do that. You don't
Yeah.
need to be everywhere.
Yeah.
Do what works for you. And this leads us to the easy part. We need to make this easy for us because we got so many other things going on in our business. Here's my truth for you today. Nobody remembers the content you've created after 90 days.
Yeah. Even
I,
after a month, I would even say a month.
even after a month. And so don't let this be soul crushing. Let this be like enlightening for you.
Yeah.
Because what this means is you get to reuse and repurpose. And when you do this, it's not cheating. In
Mm-mm.
fact, it's building up, it's strengthening. If you think about, I don't know if you've ever done like one of those exercises where you put your hands together and somebody wraps a piece of toilet paper around your wrists. And if you try and break it apart, obviously what's going to happen? Like you're going to be able to like bust through that. That's like you putting out one piece of content. And you're like, well, I hope they remember it. I hope that's strong enough for them to
Yeah.
think about me about this. No, 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 no. If you take your hands, put them together, and somebody's wrapping toilet paper around and they wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap and use like 3 rolls, girl, you're never going to get your arms apart because you've strengthened that with something that's just very little. So
Yeah.
reuse and repurpose your content, and that's how you're going to build your brand. So this is
Love it.
my formula for repurposing to make it easy. Remember, I just told you about how the podcast was like gold for me because I
Yeah.
finally found something that I loved, that was fun for me. So now I'm able to repurpose it. From
Love
my
it.
podcast, yeah. From my podcast, I now blog every single week. I've been blogging
Cool.
every single week for almost 3 years,
Yeah.
which is crazy. Before, I would blog once a year. Now, I turn my podcast into a blog. And then I have Pinterest. I utilize Pinterest in my business because from my blog, I'm making Pinterest pins that go back to my blog. And then I'm using my blog as guest articles for other people. And then I mean, when I talk about my blog, it's literally my podcast basically transcribed with like a couple of cool images and pretty pictures and things, right? Super
Yeah.
simple. I'm not reinventing the wheel. And then I take little paragraphs or bullet points and I turn them into my social media posts. So I'm creating posts or a
Yes.
carousel or a reel or a TikTok. Okay.
Yep.
Exact same content. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm not rewriting captions. I'm not doing any of that. I literally am like copy, paste, go, and then live my life.
Yeah.
And and then I can turn those into presentations like this. I can pitch that to other
Yep.
podcasts and guests on other people's podcasts. I can speak at masterminds or connect at networking events, all from one piece of content. And
Yep.
then I say the same thing over in about 3 months. I'll repeat a lot
Yes.
of the things that I do.
Well, can I even add how the mind works too?
Please, I
So
love learning this.
yeah, I teach neurolinguistic programming and how we're programmed from an early age. Well, I don't know if you've ever seen, oh, what is it called? When PETA in Mockingjay, or what's that movie? Hunger Games.
Right. Hunger Games.
Yes. When PETA is like brainwashed and stripped of like they reprogram him basically. And how they did that was flashed lots of pictures in front of it. Now, I'm not saying that's what we're doing, okay? They use torture and a lot of things on top of that. So that's something else. But what I'm saying is to get people to see your stuff and start converting, they have to get a lot of flashes in front of their eyes. And you want it to actually be the same thing over and over and over. That's why I'm always saying transcend your mind, transcend, like constantly, where you can be like repurpose, like all day long, every day in a different way with a different picture. And then it all of a sudden starts converting because it's being flashed so much, because people really do need your service. So they really do. So the more you can do this, the more it's going to convert.
Absolutely. That's an amazing example. And I love how you bring in that aspect of the brain because I mean, Camilla, knows what she's talking about. Like this is what she studies. And it's not just like this woo thing. It's literally,
No.
it's science. It's hardcore science
Yeah.
about how powerful our brains are, and how we as marketers can look at how we can use that to our advantage to help serve our clients in a better way.
Yeah. Like, I don't mean to bring this up, but think about how many times we got flashed COVID and
Yeah.
they rebranded the flu.
Yeah, where you're just like you have a total different reaction in your body physically
Yeah. So if
from
you're
these words.
flashing stuff and you get mastered in marketing, that's how you get really big, because you know how to flash things in front of people's eyes. And even the people that wouldn't ever imagine it buy into it.
Absolutely. And that's what you want to be the first thing that people think about when they
Yep.
hear Camilla, for you, transformation. I 100%, when I hear the word transformation, I'm like, oh, that's Camilla. She does that.
Yep.
Or what is it? For Mind Fortress. Is that right?
Build the fortress of your mind.
The
Yeah.
fortress of your mind. When I hear the word fortress, I think about you.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what you want. And
Yep.
when you have this repurposing strategy, it makes it easy for you, because then you're not on that hamster wheel of content creation. You know
Yeah.
exactly what to say, because you know that these are the things that you need to talk about that are going to lead the people on your journey.
Yep.
You know that you're going to do it in a way that works for you so that you can be consistent and you're not feeling guilt and shame or overwhelm. And then you
Yep.
know how to repurpose it so that you're not constantly doing things over and over and over again.
Yep.
Because in reality, your brand is the energy that you bring to it. It's not your logo, it's not your fonts, it's not your color, it's not where you're at. It's literally that energy that you bring to it. So
Mhm.
utilize that and make that work to your advantage. So
Love it.
this is where you can connect with me. I'm everywhere, Instagram at Britt Benion, or brittbenion.com is my website. And let's chat a little bit
Love
more.
it.
What do you think?
Yeah. Guys, seriously, get a hold of Brittany. She has a cool program that you're going to offer, right? Are you going to put it in the comments? She has,
Yes.
tell us about it really quick.
Okay. So thank you so much for asking. This is called the Content Collective. Now, what I have found, I've done all of this work, and I thought I had built this program. I'm going to tell you a story. Okay, let's back up. I'm going to tell you a story. I had built out this amazing offer that I was like, this is going to serve people. It's going to give them the content they need. It's exactly what they want. And it flopped. Can you hear me
Yeah,
still?
I can. Yeah, it happened.
Okay, sorry. We froze for a second.
Oh.
Thank you, internet, right? Okay, long story short, I had a program, thought was amazing. It flopped. So I went back to the drawing board and asked those questions. But what do my clients really need? But what do my clients really need? But what do my clients really need?
Mm.
And when it comes to content creation, what they really need is a very little bit of guidance and a lot more of trusting themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and even more time to just do the work,
Yeah.
get into action. Because if you're like me, I do what I call buffer learning, where I'm just like, I'm going to learn, because that means I'm doing something in my business, and it's
And then
not.
you don't
But
put the physical action in. Yeah. You're
yes,
only halfway there.
you're only halfway there, and it doesn't do any good. So I created this program because I was like, people need to take action. So the Content Collective is all about getting together, taking action, creating the content in your business so that you actually put it forth. So that's why when I say women come on, they create a month's worth of content, they schedule it out, they don't think about life or their content ever again.
That's so
That's
cool.
it. On average, women are saving over 4 hours of work a week. Think about how wonderful that
Cool.
is in terms of your time, your money, how many more clients you can take on with that. It's so transformative. So once a week, we get together for 90 minutes. I coach you. I help you get your mindset. We set our intentions, and then we work together as like a group
Love it.
independently as a group, creating content. And then we come back and you get my professional eyeballs on your content to help you know, to hone it in, to really make it better. So I'm gifting a free month into the Content Collective for all of
Yeah.
Camilla's listeners. You can find out,
Cool.
you just have to use the code CELEBRATE because we're all about fun. So let's celebrate
Oh,
that you're taking a step in the right direction for your business. So use the code CELEBRATE and you
I
can
love
find
it.
out more information at brittbenion.com/collective.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Brittany. It's been such a pleasure to have you on here. Thanks for
Thank
bringing
you.
tons of value to everyone. And guys, DM her, get on her IG, take up her offer. I'm excited for you all to be
Oh,
here
thank
and listen to her
you for having
wisdom.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just, like I said, goes right along with this new offer that you have, that you're doing this program, because get those voices out of your head so you can start
Yeah.
trusting yourself and your
That's
business,
right.
right?
Yep. That's right. Cool. Okay. Well, everyone have a great day and we will see you around. Thanks, Brittany.
Thank you so much.